Hi, my name is Kees and I help people from doing to being. And today I'm here with a video about the roles we play in life, in family, in work, and our role in general. And to illustrate that, I want to tell you a little bit about the Bhagavad Gita. And the Bhagavad Gita is a Vedic text. It's a piece of this bigger story about a war, and it's a war in old Indian times, and it's actually the Bhagavad Gita is claimed to be 2,500 years old. We don't know whether there's any truth to the Bhagavad Gita, as in whether the things that are described actually happen. But I want to give you a little bit of a piece which I really enjoy, and that's the conversation that happens between Arjuna and Krishna, which is what the Bhagavad Gita is about. And it's if you have the chance, it's a very nice but maybe complicated book to read for somebody that's not familiar with Indian philosophy, you could say. But the nice thing is that it's a conversation, like I said, between Arjuna and Krishna. And Krishna is one of the Hindu gods. He's actually a friend and mentor of Arjuna. And Arjuna is a prince. And Arjuna is a very skilled warrior. And somehow a fight broke out between two families that are very interrelated. And it's you could say it's a civil war. And it's actually a war where Arjuna is supposed to fight his family members because they're on the other side of the battlefield. And they're coming at him and at, let's say, his side. So it's a setting of war. It's an epic war, you could say, with, by the way, gods on each side. But Krishna is actually somebody that is somebody that represents truth. That is a guru or teacher, but that is somebody that lives their truth. And he is seen as by Hindus as somebody that's like the Christians see Jesus as somebody that has really lived. They see Krishna as somebody that has really lived. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But what happens is Arjuna is meant to start this battle, and he's in his chariot. He has all his bow and arrows, and he's a very good bowman. He's very precise with his shots, like Legolas in Lord of the Rings for you geeks out there, fellow geeks. And he is this battle is starting, and actually he just sits down in his chariot. And he hides. And this is when the dialogue starts between Arjuna and Krishna. And what this story is about, this bigger story is about, is that, and this is what Krishna tells Arjuna, is that this is your role, this is your destiny, this is your karma, or your outward action, the action that is meant for you to do. And so this is basically the role for you to play. You are supposed to go out there and fight. And actually, he tells Arjuna, you're supposed to win and kill your family members. Which is, it's a big family, by the way, so I think there are 20 or 30 on his side and 20 or 30 on the other side. But he's supposed to kill his old teachers, you know, or his uncles, his cousins, and he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't feel that it's right. He doesn't feel that it's right to kill. And even though he's a warrior, he doesn't feel that he is supposed to be there. And Krishna, who represents the divine, sees and actually tells Krishna that somebody is not supposed to doubt their role, but they should practice what he is calling karma yoga. And karma yoga means that karma is actually the action and yoga is the union. So how you live, supposed to live one's life is by acting with that in a non-dual way, you could say, because it's acting in a way, well, he describes it in it's action without minding the outcome. It's not looking at the outcome. It's not about the result. It's about the action itself. And it's about the action that wants to be done by you. That when you let go, when you open, when you do not rationalize things or think about them, you go with the flow. You could say go with the flow, right? And karma yoga is about union with your action. About the action that is somehow, somewhere, you don't know where does it come from. We could say God, or we could say the universe, but we don't know where it specifically comes from. How did Arjuna happen to be there on that battlefield? It's something, of course, you have sort of the facts of life. How did I come to sit here and create this video for you? Or this audio for you, if you're listening to it on audio. I don't know. I have to be honest, I don't know. I know the story. Let's say I know what happened in my life, right? I know I had a mother into spirituality. I know I first went into business stuff. I know that I didn't feel that really served me. I know that I felt a pull for spirituality. I know that I wanted to make videos at some point and I felt a lot of resistance. I didn't do it for a long time. And then at some point I became a spiritual teacher and a coach. And then Corona happened and I started creating these videos and these podcasts. And it was something that was long overdue for me. And it was the right time to start that process. And I know it was my destiny or my karma to create these videos. Because I've known about this for my whole life. That this is what really fits me. But I've denied it. I've not allowed it for a long time. And I had to take this path to start allowing more and more to come into my life for it to be as it is meant to be. And this is to go back to Arjuna and Krishna who are sitting there on the battlefield. Krishna tells Arjuna that he should not think about the outcome. He should do the action and just basically let it be, let it go. And still Arjuna is sitting there and he's saying, I can't. And then Krishna tells him more about how to live. And about that you live from you look at what God wants you to do. You look at whatever wants to happen somehow, and that you surrender to that. And that this is the active karma yoga, and that it is actually, Krishna says that it's better than renunciation, or you could say sitting in a cave without any belongings or going to the monastery. It's better to do karma yoga, as in where you surrender to life and just let it happen and don't renunciate everything. That is even better than people that just hold on to the truth. They know the truth, but they don't act. They don't have the path of action of karma yoga. So he tells Arjuna basically, this is the highest path for you and for any person. And in that process, Arjuna is still resistant, and he says, well, how do I know that God wants this for me? And as a response, Krishna shows him his true colors, as in he has been a friend of Arjuna for a long time. But what Krishna shows is actually how in sort of Krishna shows him in his forms that that he is a god, and that he is God worthy. And Arjuna bows down to him, and then Krishna basically tells him to get up, and he says all those family members and those people, and he says that from his form of God. So you could say he's channeling from the deeper part of himself, from God itself, from the unity, from the yoga part. And he says, I have already killed all your family members. I have already killed all the people on the other side, whether you are going to kill them or not. So now you stand and you do your duty. And it's a big thing for Arjuna, from Krishna to ask to Arjuna, of course. But he says it's already done. Right? It's already done. And either you can surrender to it or not, but it's already done. And it's kind of like, if I look at my own life, I was already meant to do this. And I could resist it, like I've had. I have resisted it for a long time. But it's meant to happen. Right? It will happen. So there's this karma, or this action, or something that wants to happen from a bigger part of yourself, or something bigger, or whatever, or whatever we want to. I don't know how to explain it to you clearer without using all these God language, which I like as well. But so I'll just say, well, because God wants it from us, you could say. And we are that God as well from a non-dual perspective, right? And that is the true perspective. That we are that God that wants this from us. It's our true wish, you could say. It's our deeper wish. And of course, there's a sort of human wish to be safe, to be comfortable, to be to maybe be selfish, to rationally think what's the best thing for me, do that, act on that, and make sure I'm in some sort of safe corner somewhere where nobody can touch me, with a safe job, permanent contract, some good food and some cash in the bank. And nothing wrong with that. And for some people, that is actually their karma. You could say that is what they're meant to do. They're meant to do that. And some people, they're not meant to do that. Right? And these people will somehow be pulled from that place, from that safe place that they've created for themselves, and put where they belong. Like I have been as well. But it was meant for me all along. I knew it. And I know it looking backwards. And to go back to Arjuna and Krishna, Arjuna goes and fights. And he wins the war. And it's not a glorious thing. It's not something Arjuna likes. But it is something that was meant to happen. So, somehow, some way, there's this form, there's this body, there's this soul, there's this mind. Somehow it is there. Somehow this whole is educated and identified to be a person. And that person is a sort of form on its own. It's a sort of concept. Somehow this concept is created. And it does not need to be broken down or something like that. It can be seen through. It can be transparent. And through that transparency, we can feel better, we can feel more relaxed, etc. But also, there is still a form. You could say that person form, even though it might be seen through, it might be transparent, it's still there. You could, for me, the person case is transparent for myself, but it's still there. And I still see it. And I still meet it every day. And I try to see it through more and more and more every day, of course. But there's a part that I want to discuss that's actually not really related to that. And that's that part that is related to the Bhagavad Gita, which is the role you play. There is this role, somehow, there is this person, Kees, with a role. There is this piece of life, you could say, created with a certain destiny or a certain role. And if you look deeper into yourself, you know that you have certain tendencies, or this person has certain tendencies, which other people or other persons do not have. And it's often not something that is chosen. It is given. And some of these are conditioned by, by upbringing, by friends, by social circumstances, by YouTube videos, by thoughts, etc. But there are others that are just there. That are not going somewhere. They're stable. This is what I found through my self-examination, which is pretty intense. But yeah, this is what I found, that there are some things that are just there. They're not put there. They're meant for this form. They're meant for this person. This personhood. This, even though that can be a transparent form, which I advise and make a lot of videos about, there's still a role that person plays. And what I want to invite you with this video, or with this audio, I want to invite you to let this person that somehow is there, that you're experiencing, that you're in, to let that play its role, play its part. and let that person be and evolve naturally. And it will evolve naturally, and it will come out naturally if you let go of all these rules and regulations, all these ideas of good and bad, all these judgments, all these all this pain. And all these, and it will reshape itself to play the part that it is meant to play. And if you're watching this video or not, that doesn't matter. There is a role for you to play. And from a sort of societal perspective, we give more value to one role than another. But from a non-dual perspective, from God's view, you could say, there's not a value there. There's not one. The drunkard on the street is definitely not more valuable than the CEO of a tech corporation or something like that. In God's view, there's exactly the same. And both crucial. Right? And both of these roles can also happen from this place of karma yoga, from this place of letting go of your actions. And actually one of the best books I've found on this is the Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer, who tells his story about his surrendering to life and actually becoming a tech CEO for a while. For a long while, actually, for I think 20 to 30 years. But from a place of letting go of himself, letting life happen, he became a tech CEO. He wanted to be a yogi in the woods that just meditated and was silent. But through his surrender to life, he became a tech CEO. And I was actually a tech CEO. And through my surrender, a lot smaller than he was actually, but I had a small tech startup. And from my place of surrender to life, I became a spiritual teacher and a coach over a couple of years, with a couple of years in a sort of transition period. And there is a role for you to play because you're here. There is something here, so it is meant to do something. And let it do it, if it's, and that we don't know what that is, we could, somehow you could have a deeper intuition in meditation or a feeling or maybe something that you do have exercises for this as well, which I can recommend or talk with you about in a one-on-one coaching session if you like, because they're a little bit more complicated, not in this format really appropriate. But there is a role for you to play, and it's not for you to figure out that role. The role is already figured out. The only question is, are you going to get out of your own way, out of the way of what this person is meant to play, this role this person is meant to play? So is Arjuna getting out of the way with his ideas of good and bad of the role that Arjuna, the person Arjuna, is meant to play? So is he stepping back and is he just the conscious, compassionate awareness resting and seeing from a God's view the person Arjuna do this? Or is he mingling in the person and trying to say, no, I'm not going to go to this war? And that's what Krishna is telling him. The highest path for you is not to mingle with yourself. The highest path is not for you to argue with what is. You accept what is and you move. You take action. You let it be. You let it happen. Even if it's the worst thing. And I don't recommend killing family members. Just to be clear. I recommend you be very loving to them. There is some role that wants to be played here, because otherwise this would not be there. And in other videos I've talked about the soul, and the soul has two parts. And one part is the karma that is built up as a sort of reaction to what has happened in previous lives and in this life, that needs to clean itself out. And this will also happen naturally if you let go of yourself. But there's also this other part, which I haven't discussed so much, and that's the role you're meant to play. The role this person or this soul is meant to play. And the soul is doing that through different lives on different scales and planets and etc. And the person is in this life, and you are the one that is experiencing all this, even though you might only be conscious currently of the five senses and what is wanting to show itself to you currently. I thank you so much for listening to me, and I'll leave my free grounding meditation below, which has really helped me, and I think would be really helpful for you as well, especially if you're feeling that you're sometimes overwhelmed by emotions, or that you feel a little bit high in your energy, or maybe you've experienced a spiritual awakening or had a sort of plant medicine ceremony, which or you meditate a lot and you feel that it's making you a little bit lighter, then this is something which helps you to be grounded in your body. And it really helped me. I know that it can do the same thing for you if you're experiencing some of the things I just mentioned. And if you leave your email address there with the link to the grounding meditation, you also get my newsletter where I announce new events and post articles and things like that. You can also check out for more articles and podcasts. You can check out my website, www.keesblok.one. And I feel very grateful to have talked to you and to be, even if it's just for a second, in your consciousness. And I wish you all the best in life, and hope to see you again. And if you liked it, like the video and subscribe if you feel like it. All right. Bye-bye.